Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's episode is a special one, especially for anyone in their early 20s, navigating uncertainty, pressure, expectations, burnout, and the big question of what am I really supposed to be doing with my life? Our guest today is Arlene Cohen Miller, a work-life harmony and leadership coach, retired attorney, and CEO of Jewel Consultancy. With over 30 years of experience, she helps people find calm, clarity, and confidence in both life and career. Arlene, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, lovely to meet you too.
All right. So, can you tell us what you do, basically, and more about
Well,
yourself?
well, I started off when I was 15. I just want to say to your audience that you don't have to pick one thing. I've had a lot of careers, and I sort of like followed the breadcrumbs. So when I was 15 years old, I decided I was going to be an attorney, much to my family's surprise. And I went to undergraduate for 4 years, and I went to law school. I got a degree. I've owned two businesses. One is a solo practitioner in the Midwest part of the U.S., and then I
Mm,
sold that business. Um, like 9 years into it when my son was 9. And we moved to the Western US of Colorado, where I am now. And I became a partner in a small boutique law firm. So, and then while I was the last 6 years before we sold the firm about 9 years ago, I became accredited as a life coach. I went through a year-long program and as a transformational holistic counselor. It was from Australia, so I can't use it in the
mm,
US, but I just love the learning. And I got certification as a meditation facilitator. So we sold the business about 9 years ago because of the law firm to our associates because I really wanted to be a full-time coach and mentor, which is what I do
mm,
now with helping people like with work-life harmony. I help people also, I bring the law and coaching together by helping people learn how to negotiate and communicate with others more clearly so people feel heard and understood and there can be more of a win-win instead of a power over. And
mm.
yes, and I'm on podcasts and I help law firms and things like that with this kind of stuff. So I'm really happy to talk to your young audience.
All right. Well, I'm also excited to actually have you here with all your experience. I feel like we're going to learn a whole lot from what you have to offer us today. So, what personal experience actually shaped your journey into coaching and, leadership, basically?
Well, I was always in leadership as an attorney. I was active in like a commercial law organization, did a lot of the chairs of the different committees and all that kind of stuff. Once I sort of got my feet wet as an attorney, knew what I was doing. And it really wasn't like it was a big jumper experience. I had some amazing women friends who started their own companies for coaching, for counseling, and for meditation. And I'm like, well, I like what you're teaching. And it took me a while to realize that I really needed to be better at like listening and asking powerful questions and working with people in a way my prior education hadn't given me at all. So I got all those certifications and diplomas and stuff, and I had practiced law for I think 31 years then, and I was just kind of burnt out. I mean, I knew how to do it. I enjoyed a lot of it. I was doing a lot of the firm marketing. We were traveling and going to a lot of business meetings, and the people became my family, and it was fun. And I just felt like I'd done everything that I wanted to do there. And I was ready for a change into to jump into doing the coaching and mentoring full time. I got my coaching certification when like in 2011, and so I was doing that part time for a long time. It's sort of like I just sort of I guess what I would say to your audience in the 20s is that I didn't have a definitive like, oh my God, this is my life experience. I just sort of kept following the breadcrumbs of this feels like it's important to do now. And I will acknowledge that with the coaching diploma, which I got first, it took me 3 years to say yes because I thought I didn't need that kind of training, and I was wrong.
Okay, wow. Okay. So, a lot of people in their 20s, they feel lost, confused, or even pressure to figure out life. So, from your experience, why is this phase so emotionally intense for people?
Well, because those kind of pressures are put on young people
Mm,
in society, and it used to be different. It used to be, for men, you go into your father's business, or if your parents were farmers, you started farming the land. It was like you
mm,
didn't have all these opportunities, and so when you have these opportunities and you're not really sure what you want to do, I get it. I have a lot of friends that live in Australia, and there's like schools that are more like trade schools that they can go and get a trade. And I don't know why they took those away in the United States, but how can you possibly know everything that you want to do in your life? When I started college, what is that, 18? I had no clue. I just knew that I felt like if I got an education and started somewhere, it would take me somewhere positive. And so I guess to take the stress off of you is that you don't have to know the end game. You can just really start off, well, what's some skill or ability that I'd really like to learn now? And maybe start with that because people that say they know all the answers, I don't know where they come from. And to maybe take stress off yourself. Who knows? I didn't know everything that was going to happen to me when I was 20. I was raised in a pretty middle class neighborhood, and my parents had the ability to send me to college, and it was a heck of a lot cheaper than it is now. I don't know if they'd have that if I started again, but I think we just start with, well, this sounds interesting. I'll take this course. Or if we can go to university, I'll take some courses and see what resonates with me. If we don't have that ability, you look at what other people are doing and what is available out there, and you maybe get some training and see if it's something that you're good at or you want to learn more about. And I think we need to, especially on young people, stop putting pressure on them that they have to know what they're going to do in detail because they're in their 20s. I think that's kind of absurd with how long our lifespan is now. And we need to give them a break. And maybe there's some mentors, that your parents know, your friends know that are in some kind of profession or some kind of trade that you might be interested in. We'll talk to them. You don't have to know everything immediately.
All right. Well, that sounds really amazing because, people are just, especially in our 20s, from my own experience, I'm always, wanting to have it all figured out and all. And with what you've said so far, I know I can't always have it all figured out. I just have to start from, where I am and see what I like and do that, right?
Right. Right. And
Okay.
I think we're too much in our head and we need to follow our heart. When I decided I wanted to be an attorney, I wasn't in my head. I was like, I got this inspiration, mom and dad. I said I'm going to be an attorney. They're kind of rolling their eyes. I mean, we had no attorneys in the family. And so sometimes we just have to fly by the seat of our pants, but we have to find ways to make money in the meantime so we can have a place to live if we're not with our parents anymore and things like that. So there are practical considerations, but it'd be nice if we didn't put so much pressure on ourselves.
All right. So what would you say is the biggest mistake young adults make, trying to find their purpose?
I don't know if there's a mistake that everyone has actually made. I guess one of the mistakes that I made was I was too focused. I have to do this. I have to do this now. And I graduated from university after 4 years, and I had gotten accepted into law school in the state where I was raised, which is in the kind of the southern USA. And I wanted to um, travel through Europe. You could get like a Eurail pass. You could be a waitress at different restaurants, and that's what my heart's calling was. But I knew my father would be very, very upset with me. And so I passed it by. I was 21 when I graduated from university, and it would have been the best thing for me. I would have gotten an education, seeing how other people lived. I'd have to sort of, stay at those hostels back then that weren't that expensive and get a Eurail pass and try different things. And there weren't cell phones back then, so there was letters. So, I mean, I guess that's one thing where I didn't follow my own heart's knowing that I kind of, regret. And I don't know if I do it in today's world, but I just think that we need to stop and not think that we have to have everything figured out. And so what if we make a mistake? What I teach people as a mentor and a coach is that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow, and practice makes permanent, not perfect. The more we practice something, the more we're going to have a knowing of it and be able to work with it. And so what? Okay, what can I learn from this mistake? And how can I keep on moving forward? Because we all make a ton of mistakes. Anyone who says they don't make mistakes is a liar.
All right. So, this one, I don't know. So how
That's right.
can
There's no
someone,
bad questions.
you're right. So how can someone in their 20s, their early 20s or, late 20s begin to discover their identity without feeling rushed or left behind?
Well, I think discover your identity. I feel like, okay, if I go back to my hometown where I was growing up and I see all the people that I went to high school with, I'm very, very different now than I was back then because I've had a lot of life experiences. And I think that I think that's if we're looking for our identity, we're missing the point. The point
Mm,
is, how can I accept myself as I am and just try the next thing? And how can I love myself so that my cup is full so I can share that with other people? And then if we actually try new things, I think I'll try this or I think I'll try that. And hopefully there's some sort of mentorship or people that can give us direction if we're looking for it. Our identity is going to evolve and grow as we age. I was very different identity
mm,
when I started my first law firm at 29 and I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, how the heck am I going to do this and raise my son? And, we find a way to live through things. And so our identity is always evolving and growing unless we decide, I'm not going to learn anymore. I'm not going to read anymore. I'm not going to try anything new. And I think that's when people get old. And
yeah.
and lose their vibrancy. So I sort of have a different focus, that our identity, I just say follow your heart and but do the steps on the ground that can
Mm,
get you to where you think you want to try going at this time, but not think that it has to be the end all and be all.
okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, social media, I want to talk about social media now. It has created a whole lot of, pressure on young people. How does it impact our mental health, self-esteem, and decision making, basically?
I think it's horrible, a lot of it, because people will hold up the camera and they'll have all these filters on it and they'll look perfect and they'll say their
Mm,
life is great. And it's maybe nothing what they're experiencing. And I
mm,
think it puts horrible pressure on young people because they think they have to live up to something that's completely not real. How if I put a bazillion filters on me and turn my hair from gray to blonde again and whatever, I colored it for a lot of years. I've had dark hair when I was young. And we're going to get a feeling that life is really different than what it is for people. And there's just so much fakeness on social media
mm,
that's not real because people want to be successful. They want to be what influencers or whatever that word is that maybe is another pile of horse manure. I don't know. Some people make it like that. Maybe the best thing, and I have a granddaughter that's 16 and she's on her cell phone all the time. I love her dearly, but she does have dance. She loves
mm,
dance, and so she gets away from it. I think the more that we put down our cell phones, and because social media is addictive, it is addictive. I will
mm,
raise my hand. If I start scrolling, it might be 45 minutes later. It's not a wise thing.
mm, yeah.
So we've got to get our signals from other things,
Mm,
that aren't all about people posing and being something that they're not because they, for whatever reason, that's what the society is pushing them towards. So I'm not a big fan of it, and I'm really selective about what I watch and what I see, and it is addictive, and then that's how young people communicate. So, maybe do what my granddaughter did. She started taking dance lessons. She loves it. She has a whole
mm,
group of friends with it. It fills her heart with joy. Yeah, find something that you love that's not social media.
yes. Okay. Wow. So, how can you like tell the difference between, healthy ambition and then self-destructive pressure?
That's really hard because so many jobs require you to work so hard to make it.
Mm,
And I know that when I first started, it was rough, but I sort of, because I was my own boss and I did not know what I was doing when I started that. I did not know at all. I did have a father who was an entrepreneur and he was a role model, but he certainly couldn't do it for me. I guess we really have to see, is my life in harmony? Am I working hard? Am I working towards my goals? Am I taking a little step forward every day and do I have a job that can support me? And am I doing other things that make my heart sing as well? Because it might take a while for some business that we're passionate about or some job that we have to be something that pans out. And I think it's different for everybody. If you're finding that you're overwhelmed and stressed and burnt out and the passion is gone and it's time to find ways to help yourself,
mm,
to get enough sleep, to eat the right food, to get out in nature, whatever it is. Sometimes if I just listen to certain music and kind of dance around my room, no one can see me because I'm not the best dancer. Something that lights you up and makes your heart sing. We don't want to be one focused and one sided. We want to
mm,
have a life that is enjoyable. And it is hard to get ahead in a career. And sometimes we do have to work very hard. So I don't think it's one size fits all. But if you start having those burnout, overwhelmed things where you need something else, don't do what I did and just tell myself it's just one more thing I need to get done. Take a break, do something nice for yourself for 15 or 20 minutes, and then come back. It's I think we have the knowing inside of ourselves, but we just ignore it. And that's what I did before when I got like really burnt out one time.
All right, wow. So, with what you've been saying so far, you've actually given a whole lot of advice, but I feel like you have more advice to give to us. So, what's because you know you have a whole lot of experience. So, what
Right.
advice would you give to those of us in our 20s?
Well, first of all, I believe that we're better together than if you're trying to figure everything out on your own. Probably not a good idea. Um, and it can happen sort of organically because when my son was born, I tried to have him like rocking one of those rockers in my office. Didn't work. I
Yeah.
couldn't get any work done. I found a lovely grandmother to raise him, and I also found like a workout club because I've always like that's how I got rid of my stress, and I was a runner back then, and it had a lovely daycare. There's really nice women in there. Our kids will all play together. We go
Mm,
run for an hour, and we get all that steam out. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I really feel like we're better together. And if you can at least find an accountability buddy that you can bounce things off of, or better,
okay.
like a group of friends that you can come together. If you don't live in the same neighborhood, maybe it's a group that you come together with, or you find some sort of meetup group that's supportive and inspiring, and you all have a chance to talk or whatever it is.
Mm,
I think it's a lot easier. It's not. I tried the lone wolf thing, and it does not work. It's really, really hard
mm,
to be out there by yourself. But when we have other people that share, they're going through similar things, and we can say, well, what about this? Or we sometimes we just need to be listened to and not told what to do. Um, there's something really wonderful about knowing that we're not alone and that we can support each other stepping forward. And maybe it's easy to find a group, maybe it's not. There's a lot of things on Meetup. I actually run a group that's more of a spiritual support of people. But I really think that if there's a way to find a way to step in together, even
mm,
if it's just once a week for 45 minutes, or it's someone that we can text and I'm going through this and what do you think? Or you just listen. Um,
mm.
that has been that has been my saving grace. My total saving grace is having people in my life that I don't feel like I'm alone.
Okay. I was going to say something because I had a guest on my show that I asked this particular question, and she said the exact same thing you said just now, meaning, belonging to a community or even having someone to talk to. But then again, I can't help but think, how about those who really do not have anybody to talk to? Because we all
Right.
differ. Yeah.
Right. And there are meetup groups. I know there's a lot in America. I don't know about there are where you
Yeah.
live. I mean, they're international, but maybe there's some sort of I mean, for me, what I found is that I'm not going to find one person that fits all the bills for all of my interests. But as
Mm,
a runner, I have friends that I could run with, and I've had friends that are interested in gardening, and there's like
okay.
gardening groups where they go and they plant and they do make like a park all the rose bushes and flowers look great, and you get friends that way. And or there's places where you can like rent a little plot. There's a lot of suburbs around here. Rent a plot of land and
Mm,
grow your own vegetables and stuff like that, and you meet people that way who have common interests. I've had people that are musical who do the same thing. So maybe a way to if you don't know anybody, is to say, okay, what am I actually interested in? And maybe just find a group that does something you're interested in, and you do that
mm,
together. And it's fun. It's like an example would be I'm a member of the Colorado Women's Bar Association, and I'm the only grandmother there. I don't care. But we had a trip last summer where a lady had organized it, and I love to walk. And
mm,
we drove all the way up to like 8,000 feet in a town called Nederland, Colorado. There were
mm,
about 25 of us. Some of them were attorneys. One lady brought her grandmother who was visiting her, mostly women, but a couple of really nice guys. And we walked for an hour and a half. Then we had some snacks
mm,
afterwards. And just walking together in a beautiful place. Everyone was talking to everybody because it's so easy to talk when you're walking. And I was like, wow, I usually do not like to go to like social things where everyone's sipping something
mm,
and you just feel like a total fraud. It's like, why am I here? But it was like the most amazing thing. So there's got to be things where you live where people get together to do things that they're interested in. And, if you join it, you don't like it, you don't have to continue to go. And
mm.
yeah, it can be as simple as that.
Okay, wow. So this has been really, really insightful. So I'd like to ask you, what's your definition of success?
Oh my God. Um, well, first of all, it's always nice to be able to have money to take care of yourself, to have a place to live and food to eat and all that kind of stuff. So that's success. And, I've done a lot of different things in my life. And I feel for me, the successful thing was being able to give back in a way that was helpful while enjoying my life. And that was to me,
Mm,
having the money in the bank so that I know that I was have food on the table and a place to live and stuff like that. but also finding ways to give back in a way that's meaningful for me and have other people do that for me. And um, just finding ways to enjoy life. You know, like I had that running group when I was younger, and now I'm a member of a yoga school, and I don't care if I'm like the third oldest person in there. It's a beautiful community and just lovely people to talk to. So I feel that, as we give, so we receive. And sometimes if we want to feel successful, find a way to give back, and the reciprocity happens as well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Karen. I feel like I've learned a whole lot and I'm definitely going to apply it to my daily life. And I hope my listeners can also do the same. So this has been really, really insightful. And can you tell us where can listeners get to know more about you?
Well, I don't if you put, are you going to put my name somewhere so they can, my full name, Arlene Cohen Miller? Yeah,
Yeah.
if you put that into Google, you'll find all the places. You'll find my website, which is Jewel Consultancy. You'll find all the places I am on social media. I haven't been that active recently, but I get into it and I go back. Yeah, and you find my email address and everything like that so that you can communicate with me since you're probably calling from a different country, so it won't be like an American phone number. And yeah, happy to chat with you and just reach out. And I have a lot of videos out there. I have videos on my website. I have a lot of blogs about all kinds of different things that might be helpful. And I have a YouTube channel with a lot of videos as well. So hopefully some of those things will be something that your audience finds useful.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Karen. All right. Thanks for tuning into Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, do well to share to someone who you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes.